Once again, Kentanji Brown Jackson has proven herself unworthy of the title of Supreme Court Justice. Now, if you don't know who she is, basically she was a diversity hire from Joe Biden. She wasn't qualified for the job. She couldn't even define what a woman is, and I'm sure you've seen that clip floating around the internet somewhere. But today, she said basically she's upset that the First Amendment blocks her from censoring people's free speech. What? All right, so for a little bit more context, what's going on here is it's called the Murphy v. Missouri case or whatever. So pretty much, government, they're pushing for the power to restrict free speech on like really any platform they deem necessary. And her exact quote was, "My biggest concern is that your view," so she's talking to the guys who don't want to restrict free speech, "has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways in the most important time periods." So that was Kentanji Brown Jackson to General Benjamin Aguinaga? I don't know how to say his name. Anyway, Jackson has expressed skepticism at reining in the federal government's unconstitutional censorship pressure campaign because some might say that the government actually has a duty to take steps to protect the citizens in this country that goes far beyond simply posting its own speech or engaging in constitutional means of securing citizens from violence. You seem to be suggesting that duty cannot manifest itself in the government encouraging or even pressuring platforms to take down harmful information. Boom. So she pretty much, if you didn't catch it, just said, yeah, free speech is irrelevant. Screw the First Amendment. Well, I don't really care. I want to be able to say you can or can't say that on whatever platform. So this was still Kentanji Brown Jackson. "Can you help me? Because I'm really worried about that. Because you've got the First Amendment operating in an environment of threatening circumstances from the government's perspective, and you're saying that government can't interact with the source of those problems. No, you're not allowed to do that. You can say stuff. You can say whatever you want to say. Because of the First Amendment, you can tell the citizens whatever you want to tell them. But we don't have to respond to that, or we don't have to take any action because of that." And I'm pretty sure the First Amendment was written just in case a government wanted to do something like what they're suggesting right now, which would be speaking up against the current regime or administration or whatever. So then now we go to we're going to call him General Benjamin because I don't know how to say his last name. Basically, he was explaining that, yeah, the government can get involved, but we don't have the power to take something down. It's like, for example, someone comes out, says something, the government has the power to respond by saying a thing back or like giving warning to people, but they do not have the right to suppress or shut down or just completely get rid of what this guy said. So his exact quote on that was, "Our position is not that the government can interact with the platforms there. They can and should in certain circumstances like that present such dangerous issues for society and especially for young people. But the way they do that has to be in compliance with the First Amendment. And I think that means they can give them all the true information that the platform needs and ask to amplify that." So one thing there I'm not really cool with is saying like it needs whatever the government's saying needs to be amplified more than just citizens. Not really a fan of that. I think it should be an even playing field, or just based on how many followers they have. That makes sense to me because it's kind of like merit based. So if dude saying thing has like 50 followers, government page has like 50,000, just let it run off of that. Also, sorry for my voice. I'm a little bit sick right now. This kind of sounds weird. And then here's Kentanji overstepping her boundaries even more, saying basically in times of like dire need or whatever, the government should be able to overstep its constitutional limits. That's pretty gay of her to say. So let's see the exact quote though. "I'm interested in your view that the context doesn't change the First Amendment principles," Jackson said. "I understand our First Amendment jurisprudence is to require heightened scrutiny, I can't talk today, of government restrictions of speech, but not necessarily a total prohibition when you're talking about a compelling interest of the government to ensure, for example, that the public has accurate information in the context of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic." Now that sounds okay, right? But we can see from literally living and everything that happened within the past 3-4 years government does not do a good job of giving out accurate information, especially when it comes to viruses and pandemics and stuff. So, in summary, Kentanji Brown Jackson is a wannabe tyrant. Obviously, her stance or whatever isn't going to get very far, hopefully. Because, American people are already ticked because it's kind of everywhere on, like, social media. And also, it just really doesn't make sense. Like, how can you, with the Constitution, how can you do that? You can't. But, yeah, I guess that's really all I got to say about that. If Kentanji Brown Jackson somehow sees this, I would like to say either step down or continue to publicly humiliate yourself. So, yeah, I guess that's all I really got to say. Don't be cringe, be based. Goodbye.